What is up, everybody? ShonnyDman here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are getting ready for the weekend. It is basically November now, so a lot of fun things coming to the channel, but you're here for Nerd Talk, and we're going to jump right in today. So, brand new guest, tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Taylor Renee Castle, otherwise known as Bravo Almara on most platforms. I'm a cosplayer and, as you can see, a general nerd in all ways. I saw that you did like a Scooby-Doo video not too long ago, and I'm repping my Hex Girls like t-shirt right now. um so yeah, I'm from Hollywood. I'm an actor as well as a cosplayer, and just kind of an overall artist in many different ways.
So yeah, for those who may be new to the channel, this past week or two, or the past I think 2 weeks is when I was doing it, but we have been playing Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, which was an old PS2 game. As part of kind of like the month of Halloween with the channel. We also played The Quarry as well. So we did a little bit of spooky stuff for this season. And you're basically, and I think I mentioned this to you before when we were communicating, you're basically the second actress that I've had on.
Yeah.
The first one I had was, I don't know if you would know her, but her Valiant Fox is her
Yeah,
is her
I've heard
name.
of that handle before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if I could recognize her right off the bat, but I've heard the handle before.
okay. So yeah, she was
Yeah.
on several weeks ago, and so that was a very fun conversation to have with her. So so
Nice.
first off, let me see. Let's start with your cosplays. When did you
Yes.
start cosplaying?
Um, so I didn't know what cosplaying was, but I've always loved dress up. Like Halloween. This is perfect timing, like for Halloween right now. I've always been obsessed with Halloween. I went all out every single year, like every year of my life. So like 26 years total, I've done like crazy Halloween costumes. Um, but I think that I officially started cosplaying and like having a cosplay account on Instagram and stuff. I guess that would have been 2017 was like the official start of cosplay. And I started with a Sherlock Holmes cosplay from BBC Sherlock. That was my
Ooh,
first official cosplay. Yeah.
okay. That show actually was somewhat a introduction for me to Sherlock Holmes. Really, the
Yeah,
first
me too.
time it was I don't know if you would know this show, but it was an old show called Wishbone.
No, I've never heard of it.
So years ago, there was a kids TV show called Wishbone, and basically it was a talking dog. Well, the dog wasn't actually talking, but it was a talking dog, and he would go each episode. He would go through books, so he'll do like Peter Pan. He did Sherlock Holmes, and he did a few others
Uh,
as well. That was like the first time I kind of came across Sherlock Holmes, but I love the BBC's version of Sherlock Holmes and Robbie
oh
Downey
yeah.
Jr.'s.
I do. I also like Robert Downey Jr.'s version as well. I think I prefer Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal, but I think that they both made such interesting choices, and they were like just yeah, their acting beats and their acting choices were so specific and really really good. I enjoyed both of their like portrayals of that role. I think what I liked about Sherlock BBC though was how modernized it was. It was much more accessible, I think, to general audiences, since it's set in modern day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, one of my favorite episodes was The Hound of Baskerville.
Yeah.
Definitely one
That
of my
was
favorites.
crazy.
Yeah.
He was insane in that episode.
So I've never been much of a
Line.
reader, so I've never read any kind of like Sherlock Holmes books whatsoever. But
Yeah,
I do
fair.
remember that book as a kid.
Did you read that one?
No, I just kind of like
Oh, you just
pretended
heard
to
of it.
read.
I was gonna say, as a kid reading that book, that would be terrifying because I heard that that's like the most horrible.
Oh my
So
gosh.
like, can you imagine? You could barely get me. I didn't even read. I couldn't even read like Harry Potter because it creeped me out and it was like too weird
Really?
for me. So like that as a kid, I was like, I don't even know how you would do that.
That is wild. I never read the Harry
But
Potter books.
I'm like you though. I'm not like an avid reader. I have to be super, super into something to read an entire book about it. So
Yeah, I've always been a little bit of a slow reader, so it would definitely take me a little bit of time to get through a book. So that's why I prefer watching the movies instead. I know it's not the
yeah,
same, but close enough. Well,
especially like Sherlock Holmes. Those are intense
right.
novels. And
Uh, because like with the Harry Potter series, obviously I have friends who have read the books and watched the movies, and it's like that for most cases. But I just prefer the movies. I don't think I will ever really read a Harry Potter book unless I have like a kid and want to read it to him or something like
yeah,
that. But it's
yeah,
not on my to-do list of things.
agreed.
um, so what other cosplays have you done over or well, when did you start cosplaying?
So that was like 2017. And I was in college. And yeah, I started with Sherlock, and then I guess I can kind of go chronologically, like the major ones that I've done. So then after Sherlock, I moved on to I think like Spock from Star Trek.
Oh,
Yeah. I was very into like crossplay because I love like makeup transformations. And so to like look like a man was way more difficult than trying to just do like a female cosplay.
mm.
And then most of the characters I love are, like male. So I was like, I'm just gonna make my face look like a man. So yeah, it was like Sherlock, and then Sherlock and Doctor Strange came at the same time because I was obsessed with Benedict Cumberbatch. I love him as an actor. And then yeah, Spock. And then I think the next like major thing I did, let me pull up my Instagram and I can tell you what the major thing it was. I'm pretty sure the next major thing was like Jessica Jones.
Which, by the way,
Uh,
when you sent me that, I was like, oh man, she looks just like Jessica Ritter.
oh my gosh. Yeah. She luckily she was easier for me to do because my facial structure is much more similar to her. Like
Mm.
if I'm doing like a man cosplay, I have to change so many things about my face. But luckily she was like way more easily accessible to like put her face on my face. Um yeah, I want to say it's Jessica Jones was like the next big thing that I did. I had a little stint of Kylo Ren in there. I don't do a whole lot of him, but yeah. And then around the same time I got a job doing kids' birthday parties. And so I've obtained like every single princess character you could possibly think of. So I do a
Oh,
lot of Disney princesses. Um, and then more recently, my Scarlet Witch was kind of a big thing. And then now my major one that I'm super excited and happy about is Jack Sparrow is my latest one that I'm like it was been a dream for me to be Jack Sparrow.
uh, yeah, because so you are basically a party princess.
Yes, yes, that's like my day job pretty much. That's
Okay,
what
okay.
pays the bill.
What uh, which character is your favorite that you've done?
Oh, that's so hard. Like of princessing or in general?
Princessing.
Princess. So I think that my favorite costume right now, I mean, I love Rapunzel. I feel like it's so fun and extravagant because it's like comfortable and it's pink and cute and the hair is really cool, but it's a nightmare to like do a party as her because the hair is so heavy and you get a headache and you can't like move. Um, so I think that my favorite character to portray is Anna from Frozen. Like I think that I'm like more like her, and the quirkiness and like funness of her is way more like I'm way more excited to be her at a party than like anybody else.
I oh man, I when Frozen first came out, I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want to deal with this anymore because this is just
That's how I feel right now. It's still happening. Frozen fever never ended, and I just
I
wish it would.
I remember during spring break, me and some friends, we went down to Florida for spring break, and
Mm-hmm.
Frozen had just came out, and we were all college age, and all the girls were all singing Frozen songs, and I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to do this. This is annoying.
I don't blame you. I mean, I was one of those girls who was like really excited about it when it came out, but now that it's a job that I have and I'm Elsa every week of my life, I just want it to be over. Like I just don't want it to be popular anymore. I'm fine with Anna, but like if I have to be Elsa one more time, I'm gonna break down. So
um, so how many cons do you typically go to a year? Because I know most of the guests I've had on, they go to anywhere to three, maybe a year, depending on
yeah,
finances and stuff like that.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, financially, like this year, I'm totally screwed because I blew all my money on San Diego Comic-Con.
I don't
So
blame you though.
probably no more. Yeah, I had to go at least once. I had never been before this year. The one that I go to every single year, though, since I started, I've been going to WonderCon. That's my favorite convention. Um, and that's in Anaheim. And I've done LA Comic Con. I like it. It's a little smaller, and I think that the cosplay scene isn't as like grandiose and as intense, I think, as WonderCon's is, in my opinion. There's a lot of cosplays, but I think WonderCon has the most amount of cosplayers and the biggest variety of different things to see. Um, and yeah, I think those two are kind of the ones that are the like consistently the things I do every year. I've done Anime Expo one year, I think it was 2019. I went to Anime Expo, and that's because the Red Dead 2 cast was there. And
Oh,
I was like, I have to meet them as Arthur Morgan because I dressed up as Arthur. And I met Roger Clark, and it was so cool. But yeah, anime is not something I've like broken into, not because I don't like it. It's just I haven't had time to like start anywhere. So I was completely like a fish out of water at
oh
Anime
my
Expo.
gosh.
I was like, I don't belong here. I don't think.
Uh,
Yeah, but it's so fun.
have you but you played Red Dead?
Oh yeah, I've played through Red Dead 2. I think I've completed it 3 times, and then
Oh
I've
my
played through
gosh.
Red Dead 1 once. So yeah.
I funny story. Those who are probably listening have probably heard this story before, but if not, you might find I get a kick out of this story. But a couple of years ago, probably not long after Red Dead came out, I was
Hmm.
working at a Chick-fil-A with my friend Bailey. So one night it was me, my friend Bailey, our friend John and Aaron, and we all get on. We play. We were playing Red Dead, and Bailey shoots my character. Okay, and so our
Hmm.
friend John, like in the team in the group chat, he was just like, Bailey, you owe me reparations for my slave that you just shot. And so me and Bailey were laughing about it because John and Aaron never, well, Aaron met me, but John's never met me before. So about a week or two later, while it was my night working at Chick-fil-A, Bailey, John, and Aaron comes in. John is just like quietly in the back and not saying anything. And then Bailey texted me later, or he called me later, and he was just like, Sean, I just want you to know, John was like really embarrassed. I was like, why? He said, Sean, we got into the car and he leaned over to me. He's like, Bailey, I didn't know Sean was black. and then Bailey remembered what happened in Red Dead. And I was like, John, it's not a big deal. You're completely fine. I had a fun time with it. So, but he was like, he was so shook. He thought he really hurt my feelings. I was like, John, no, you're good, buddy. Don't worry about it.
That is the most unfortunate situation. Like that is so what an unfortunate thing
It
to
is.
have
It
happen.
is. So,
I would totally I completely like feel for the guy though. That sucks. I would feel the same way I did.
oh well, we still bring it up to this day. So he does
Well,
not live that
now it's
down.
all good fun, but in
Yeah.
that moment, I'm sure he was like,
So yeah,
"Damn, I
he was
really
he was
that
good about it.
sucks."
So I was like, John, you can get over it. It's I was like, me and Bailey say a lot worse to each other, so you're not gonna hurt my feelings. And so, but yeah, I love Red Dead. It's been a while since I played that game.
Too.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it when I would get on and play it.
Oh yeah, I was like hyper fixated on that game for like a good year and a half. So obviously, like I said, I played through it like 3 times, and that's how long it probably would take to play through it 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
So,
uh,
but when I went to Anime Expo though, I met Roger Clark who played Arthur Morgan. I met John. I met Abigail, and I met Micah. They were all so cool. They were so sweet.
okay. What other games do you like playing or have played?
Um, I'll be honest, is cussing allowed on your show?
I mean, that's fine. So,
Okay. I'm ass at all games. Like I'm terrible. I suck so bad. Um so Red Dead was nice because it was me playing by myself and I could just mess up and it was
mm,
probably fine. Like I could just but most games I just don't even try. I'll watch playthroughs instead of other people doing it. So I'm
uh,
very interested in these games, but I never play them because I'm too scared. Um, but like a game I play a lot, I play Battlefront 2 a lot.
oh,
I love Battlefront so much. I played Until Dawn was like a super
love
big
it.
game for me. I loved that. Um, what else? There's so many. I played through Watch Dogs. Watch
Mm,
Dogs 2, I think. Um, oh God, I don't know. I can't think of what other ones off the top of my head, but those are the main ones that I kind of will go back to
okay,
and play.
okay. You
Yeah.
really should play if you like Until Dawn, then I think you
Mhm.
definitely will like the Dark Picture anthology.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I don't know anything about that,
Really,
actually.
it's basically the
Oh,
same concept as Until Dawn. Well, that and the Telltale series of games like Walking Dead and Batman.
okay.
You know,
Yeah,
your choices affect the outcome of the story and things like that.
right.
So right now, there's four of the Dark Picture anthology games. There's Men of Medan, which you're on a basically haunted ghost ship. There is Little Hope, House of Ashes, and The Devil in Me. The Devil in Me is the most recent one, and that's kind of based off. I think it's H. Holmes, who was a serial killer out in
Right.
California.
Yeah, I know
Yeah, I
that.
think
Yeah.
that's based off of him.
Okay.
And
I feel
then
like the Man of Medan, I think I watch Markiplier play a lot of games, and I feel like he's played that before.
oh,
I
it's
might have
fun.
seen him through that game. It sounds so familiar. So that's probably if I've seen it, that's where I've seen it. It's from Markiplier.
um, so that's fun. And then let's see, and then there's the Quarry, which came out last year. That one's kind of the same kind of concept. Choices affect the outcome. That one's very fun. I really enjoyed playing
think
that.
that's kind of my thing with games is the choices. Because I mean, Red Dead's the same thing, making choices,
Yeah.
and I like having an influence on the story. I think that kind of draws me to like games. So that's okay, cool. I have some things to look at now. So thank you.
Let's see. What are some good? Let's see. I'm trying to think. I do love. I recently re-downloaded Battlefront 2 just because it's been quite a while since I played it.
Yeah. The
Um,
servers are dead though. Like nobody's on there.
yeah, but I was in one the other day because it was what is it, capital supremacy, and
Yeah.
oh, I think I was in this one match for almost 3 hours before we finally won. So
Oh, geez.
yeah, it was
That's exciting though.
yeah, but it was long. It was really long.
Yeah.
You're like into it too, and you're kind of like I don't want to leave because I'm like
Right.
really invested in this now. So, but we were able,
Once you're like an hour in, like you can't, there's no turning back. Like
right?
you're stuck now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I think
uh,
I like playing heroes and villains. That's my like preferred. I think because
oh,
I think tactically I'm terrible at like supremacy and I'm a horrible shot. Like I'm a horrible shot. So playing heroes and villains gives me a lot more opportunity to like not be awful.
no, I don't know. I don't blame you. I understand. I've actually never played heroes and villains. I'm probably the opposite of you. So
Got it.
that's probably why.
Well, then we should never play each other in Supremacy, and we should never play each other in Heroes and Villains because each of us will have a very big advantage. It
Right.
would
Well,
not be fair.
honestly, either way, I'm very competitive, so I would go out of my way just to find you, just so I can
Yeah.
get that.
See, you gotta let me get really good because I'm competitive too. And so I would do the same to you if I was really good. My family won't even play games with me. Like they won't.
Oh,
They're like,
really?
you're too mean. You're too mean. You take it too seriously. So yeah.
uh, let me see. Let's see. I what's some other good games? Let me see. I started to play a little bit more on PC now than I did PlayStation because I built a PC last year. So just for YouTube purposes,
Cool.
and obviously there's games that I can only play on PC or
Right.
Xbox. Um,
Right.
what is another good game? Let's see, because
Oh, there's one that I do play and I cannot for the life of me think of the name of it. It's it'd be great for Halloween. I need to pull it back out again. Um oh my gosh. It's where you're playing as like or you're basically trying to survive and there's like famous movie monsters or famous like bad guys. Like Jason's in there, I think, and
oh,
Freddy
Dead by
Krueger.
Daylight.
Yes, I love Dead by Daylight. I'm so bad at it. Again, I'll say that again. I'm so bad at it, but it is super fun. Um, I just literally I will never survive. So you don't ever want me to be on a team with you, but yeah, I like that game a lot. And I just remembered that it exists and it's really like Halloween time. I should pull that
Yeah.
thing back out and try to get
Uh,
good.
you need to check out it. There's still people who play it, but it's been out for a couple of years now. But there's a Friday the 13th game.
I've played that too.
Uh,
It's super fun.
yep, I
I like that.
downloaded that one again, and I was just like, I need to play this for do a little bit of Halloween gameplay. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it. It's very fun, especially when you're
I
Jason.
like that one. Oh yeah, of course. But again, um, if you're ever playing against me and I'm Jason, like you will live. So there's no doubt about it. You will survive.
So what? So judge. So based off your movie posters behind you, uh,
Yes.
so let me see. Predator. Are you a big Predator fan?
So I share this room with my significant other. That is
Oh,
definitely a him thing. It's a him. I love Marvel, so that's all of an us thing. Um, but I would say if I had to like pick my main fandoms,
mhm.
it's definitely Star Wars.
Okay.
This one's a little more niche nowadays, but Pirates of the Caribbean is like my obsession. Um, and I also am obsessed with Marvel, obviously. I would say like those are the big ones
Okay. Okay.
currently. Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, I actually wished they would have stopped after the third one and not made the other
Yes,
two.
agreed.
And so, not that I hate them. I think they're
They're
fun in
fun.
their own individual way, but they just
Right.
don't. They what I hate about it is the first three had such a nice balance of
Characters.
darkness and tone to it, and then the next two, I don't know. You make Jack Sparrow look like a complete idiot at times, and I'm just like,
Thank you for saying
eh,
that because that's been my biggest, he's my favorite like character of all time in the entirety of cinema. And like my partner, he loves Dead Man Tell No Tales, which is the last one that was released. And I was like, I hate it because it turned him into an idiot who's
yeah,
just lucky. And I'm like, that's not who he is. He's thinking at all times. Like he's
yeah.
always got a plan, even if he makes you think he doesn't. So I'm glad you said that because I completely agree.
And then I
And
remembered,
obviously I'm really passionate about
yeah,
this.
and then I remembered there was a rumor going around at the time that they were going to reboot the series and they were going to do
With
like,
Margot Robbie.
yeah, yeah, and I was just kind of like, I don't, why would you do that? I think that was probably during the midst of the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp
Yeah,
trial because they just didn't
right,
know which way that was going to go. But even then,
right.
you're just kind of like, why would you do that?
I agree. And no offense to Margot Robbie, I love her. I think she's a really amazing,
Yeah.
talented actress. But I just have no desire to see that. I'm so
Oh yeah.
sorry, but I
Yeah.
just I don't.
It's just
If
not.
it's not Jack Sparrow and it's not Jack Sparrow in his original form, I don't
Yeah.
want it. Like,
Exactly. Uh, and then Star Wars related. And I was talking with somebody about this like in the last week's episode, and because I asked him, I said, what's your favorite out of all the Star Wars movies?
mhm.
Which one's your favorite, and which one's your least favorite?
Okay. So I have the standard answer for like as a Star Wars film, Empire Strikes Back is unbeatable. Like
Okay.
you can't really beat it as a Star Wars movie. Um, I'm against public opinion in that the prequels are better than the sequels. I have a really hard time with the prequels, and that's because I love good dialogue. And unfortunately, George Lucas did not write good dialogue. And so it annoys the hell out of me to watch the prequels. So I think I guess I guess Attack of the Clones is my least favorite
Really?
movie. Yeah, yeah, I think it's my least favorite. And honestly, it's coming from strictly an actor's point of view as well, like being in the industry. Maybe this is a good segue into talking about acting. But um, yeah, I think from and no flack to the actors of the prequels. It's their direction they were given, I think is was challenging for them, and the script they were given was challenging for them to work with. Um, because you saw with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, like with some decent writing, like Ewan McGregor was even more interesting as Obi-Wan Kenobi in that show, despite its having flaws as well
Yeah.
as a show. I feel like he was so much more interesting to watch. And even Hayden Christensen, the resurgence of him with some writing that's better than what George Lucas had given him, that's better than I Hate Sand. Like, um, I think that he's showing off a lot more of his acting chops and he has so much more to work with, even in the small little moments he's been given in recent years. Um, Sorry, I know this is like a highbrow acting conversation that I'm starting to have
No, you're
right now.
fine.
Um, but I think the only reason that I prefer the sequels over the prequels as movies is just based on the performances, having nothing to do with the story and nothing to do with cinematography or nothing. I think as an actor, that's more of an actor's trilogy than the prequels was, if that makes any sense at all.
Okay. Okay.
But I know I understand the feelings about
Um,
like
so I grew up with the prequels.
Yes. And I understand the nostalgia factor of them as
right.
well.
But I mean, even that case, I still prefer the original trilogy over the other two. But
Oh, yes, yes,
you
yes.
know, Force Awakens was good. I thought it was a good balanced movie. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's some decisions you probably shouldn't have taken, but
Mm-hmm.
like I don't think you unless Harrison Ford wanted it, I don't think you should have killed Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Um I just didn't I understand what they were trying to go for and do, but it just
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have an opinion on this, if I
okay, yeah, go
may.
ahead.
Um, so I think that if they had structurally planned out the sequel trilogy
Okay.
to the point where they had given Ben Solo a better redemption arc and made his father's death worth something in the end, then I think it would have been justified. But they didn't write him well enough. They didn't give
Mm-hmm.
that character enough to do and enough to work with. Because I think in all honesty, like to me, when I saw this, the last one was The Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, well, okay, like that means we're getting a bunch of redemption, and he's gonna get, make Han Solo's death and all of this destruction like worth it at the end, and he's gonna be the last Skywalker and blah blah blah. And then that wasn't it, like in any way. So um we got like 2 seconds of a redemption arc, I
Yeah.
guess. Um,
Uh
so I think I agree with you in that if the way things panned out, Han Solo's death was meaningless. Like, so yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that.
like also too, so the Last Jedi, I wasn't a big fan of Space Leia and that whole sequence.
It was interesting.
It was a very bold take. Um,
Yes.
I don't think I like again. I understand what they were trying to do, but it could have been done better. I didn't like the way Luke was handled.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, but again, I understand what he was going through, but it
Mm-hmm.
just didn't work out well for me.
Yeah.
The Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
I'm fine with the Rise of Skywalker. Again, there are questionable things about it, like like the whole final conflict where you have Finn and a bunch of other characters riding animals on Star Destroyers, kind of in atmosphere. And I'm just kind of like, that's nitpicking, I'm sure, but I'm just kind of like, I don't think. And then I don't agree. And personally, this is me. I don't agree with the Ray Kylo kiss. That made no sense. That had like you gave no indication that these two had like those kind of feelings for each other.
I
I was,
think it's the romantic in me, and I had rooted for that the
oh my
whole
gosh.
time. but again, the lack of planning and lack of setup is what made it all so just it like it was all rusty. It was just
Mm,
so rusty and just pasted together, and like beats that are supposed to be there, but they're not justified in any way. And that's just strictly a lack of planning and a lack of a cohesive like storyline.
yeah.
And if we had gotten like all this Disney Plus stuff is like popping off, and it started happening after the sequel trilogy had began. If they had just had this little renaissance of Star Wars TV shows beforehand and gave us like a lead up and like, you know, given us more information instead of having to like find it and pick through like comic books and
Mm,
books to like understand what's going on, then I think that a lot of that would have been cleaner, and would have made more sense. And we would have maybe even wanted those things to happen necessarily if we knew anything about what happened before. Instead
Right.
of just getting like a flashback, like someone's telling you, or Palpatine is in Fortnite. like, like I don't know. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily hate what they tried to do. I just think it could have been done so much better. And people would have maybe even enjoyed it if they had gotten more information. So,
Yeah,
you know?
because all three films had three different directors who did three different things with it.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. As far as the prequels go, obviously Revenge of the Sith is the best one out of the three. Um
Absolutely.
I
Ab-
think I actually prefer Attack of the Clones over the Phantom Menace. Just something
oh yeah,
about as a
I
kid.
think that those two are
Uh
like tied for like favorite ones.
yeah,
I think they're just like they're both meh.
yeah.
They're fine, I guess. But
And
Revenge of the
then
Sith is great.
yeah, that's true. Oh man, I loved it. Loved it. And then Rogue One and Solo. I love Rogue One.
Mhm.
Um the re I love it because it other than maybe Attack of Revenge of well, the Revenge of the Sith doesn't really do this either, but it gives you kind of get the war part of Star Wars with Rogue One.
Right.
Um and I thought the actors was great, the visual was great,
Yeah.
everything about it was good, and it just kind of like yeah, it sets up a new hope. So
You're right. It's I think that's like the biggest film that really set up the stakes of the fact that they're in war actively.
yeah,
I think that the other movies, they're focusing on the Skywalker lineage, so we're just seeing little bits and pieces of what matters to the Skywalkers and how it is important to their legacy. But Rogue One does set up really nicely like the scope of how dire A
mm,
New Hope is.
yeah,
Um, and if they see, that's what I'm saying though, is if they made a movie like Rogue One or a show prior to the sequel trilogy and gave us all of these like characters we love are going through this new distressing time and the scope of things are getting bad again, like that would have been so interesting to see like what happens after how do they get there? Like
yeah,
I think that would have been so cool. And it would have given us opportunity for more Leia, Han, and Luke. And
yeah.
how could you not want that?
As far as the Solo movie, and obviously a lot of people will, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would agree with this. The Solo movie was not bad. It
I
was
didn't hate
just
it. I was
it
fun
was
with
just
it.
poorly marketed, and
It
that's
was.
that. And it came out at an extremely bad time. Because if I remember right, um,
Yeah.
it came out just after Deadpool 2, but right
Uh
before Infinity War.
oh yeah. So really bad.
It's an extremely bad timing for it.
Horrible.
So
Because like
but no,
movie theater
it was
tickets
good.
too, they're expensive. So if a family's gonna go see a movie, they're gonna go to Marvel.
Yeah.
Like
So,
so
uh,
yeah. I don't know who was in charge of that, but they really
mm,
messed that one up.
uh, as far as Marvel, speaking of which, the
What a good
Marvels
segue.
comes out next weekend.
Yes, it does.
You know, that's going to be interesting to see on how it does. I think it's one of Marvel's shortest movies. I think it's like an
That's
hour
probably okay.
45.
I'm not sure. I honestly, I'm okay with that though. Movies have gotten too long, so
That's
that's
fair.
okay.
I I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna go see it, obviously, because it's But I'm just curious on how people are gonna react to this movie because a lot of people don't like Brie
Honestly,
Larson anyway.
Yeah, there's a vendetta against her, I think, in general, and the general population doesn't love her.
Yeah.
I'm like indifferent.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's fine. I didn't care for Captain Marvel as a film. I was, again, it was like middle of the pack. Like, I didn't hate it. It was fun, but I didn't love it. So
Okay.
yeah. Um, but I I do like uh Kamala. I like her a lot. Or Kamala or Kamala. How do you say her name?
Kamala.
Kamala, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. It's been a while since I've seen her. I like her. I think she's super fun and quirky. That show's pacing that she had was interesting. But I look forward to her because she's so adorable. Um, yeah, so this will be interesting. As long as it's better than Ant-Man, Quantumania, I think I'll be okay with it.
I enjoyed Ant-Man Quantumanium for what it was, but it's not an Ant-Man movie. It should have been more of a Fantastic Four based movie.
Yes. Yes.
So
I know. I heard that that's like what it was. Like this was originally written for that slot and they're just so behind that
yeah.
that's what happened. I love Kang though.
Oh
I think
yeah.
Kang is super cool.
Yeah.
The newest episode of Loki with him, I was like, Jonathan Majors is a good actor.
Oh
He's
yeah.
really good. He was so weird in this last episode of Loki. Sorry, spoilers if anybody hasn't seen Loki, but
I'm at this point they should see it. So
y'all have better seen Loki already.
and because right now I'm kind of I'm work this is something I thought about doing. Obviously, there is a chronological order that's like out there now of how you should watch the movies and maybe the Netflix series shows and the other day. I'm not sure, I can't remember, but I know the movie wise there's a chronological order.
Yeah.
I'm making a video basically doing the same thing, but we're gonna change some stuff around. So I always tell people, I tell my best friend this, and it's just like Marvel, you can understand what they're trying to do with their shows and movies and the time how many you're getting a year, because you can't spend another 10 years building up to one big finale, because Iron Man came out in 2008. I was a sophomore in high school when that
Right.
movie came out. And then we wrapped it up with Infinity War, or I'm sorry, Endgame in like what, 2019?
Yeah.
And so that's an 11-year gap of my life right there dedicated to just the Infinity Saga. And now you have the
Right.
Multiverse Saga and then whatever's coming next after that. So I don't have an issue with how they're doing it. The quality could obviously be better. Some of the
Yeah.
shows and movies you probably honestly could have skipped, like the internals. Probably could have skipped that and not done that.
Yeah.
Um.
I went and saw that on my birthday and I fell asleep in the
Oh, really?
theater.
So, I
So
I will, and I
that's
would
what I
like
felt about.
I would hammer it too, because the number one, you have so many characters that nobody knows nothing about unless you're an avid comic book reader or something like that. I knew
Right.
nothing about these guys. And number
Yeah.
two, I was just so weird. It's so weird watching it because you had Icarus and what was it, Sprite? I think that's the name.
Mhm.
It was weird. It was very weird because you had basically, I think it was a child actor. You basically had like a child actor wanting to be with an adult male, and I was just kind of like, does anybody else see this, or am I just looking too much into it? Cause I don't know
I'll
how
be
old
honest,
the actress was.
like when I watched it for my birthday, I think I watched about 25 minutes of the movie and fell asleep. And I have not even gone back to it because I was like, I just don't want to. I
Yeah,
don't want to at
yeah.
all. So I don't even know what happens. I don't even know. And I'm fine with it. So
Um, Black Widow, you either you make that movie before Civil War or you don't make it at all.
the place of it was so weird.
It,
It didn't make any sense.
no, because we know what happens to her. We just saw it in a movie, and now we're getting
Yeah.
a solo movie that's based before it. No, you either set it up before or you just don't do it at all. And so it's
And if they're using it as an excuse to set up Yelena, I'm like, I feel like there's like
oh
better
yeah,
ways you could have done that.
yeah.
But
Let's see.
and they did a decent job in Hawkeye setting her up. So I
Oh
was
yeah,
like, do we really need a Black Widow movie? I
yeah.
I don't I don't
And then let's see. What's another? What's one of my pet peeves? Thor, Love and Thunder. Hated it. I actually, the more
hated
I
that one. Huh?
Thor Ragnarok was fine. I'm okay with that. They went too far with Love and Thunder. It was it was just too jokey. Uh, just a lot of it was unnecessary, and I just I didn't like. It really just threw me off because one, Christian Bale is such a good actor, and you don't
Mhm,
really see much of that acting in that movie. And
mhm.
two, you have Russell Crowe in it, and it's that whole scene where they're kind of like Mount Olympus, and like he
Yeah.
what like throws lightning or something and knocks Thor's clothes off, and you see Chris Hemsworth's butt cheeks, and I'm just like, what is this? What are we doing here? So
Yeah, I have a feeling that's strictly just because of the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're like, we need a little bit more of this lightheartedness in our
no, we don't.
franchise, and they're like, yeah, Thor. I think it's great for Guardians. I enjoyed Ragnarok. I thought that it was like a really good balance of the
Oh yeah,
humor and seriousness. I thought I enjoyed that one a lot, but I agree with Love and Thunder was like just a lot. It was just like too many things, and I don't know. And it was so colorful. And honestly, I don't know how you feel about CGI, but the way that CGI looks now is so appalling to me. Like it's just it's too much. It just looks like CGI. And it's like, can we go back to trying to make it look real? Like,
yeah, because
please.
there was like, what was it? There was that one kid who was like Heimdall's son or something like that. It's the scene where
Yeah.
like the floating head and all that. That looked, and it's just
It was
yes, and it doesn't make sense because there's movies out there like the original Jurassic Park
that's what
still
I was thinking of when I brought that up is Jurassic
still
Park.
holds
Yeah.
up to this day with the CGI. Like it has
Yeah.
not aged. There's like maybe
No.
Terminator 2 is probably that's probably that's probably another one.
No,
But
Davy
yeah,
Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh
yeah,
my God. It looks to this
like
day.
and we get
So,
what we
oh,
get now. So it's
honestly, when I said earlier too about I really hated Ant-Man, it's because number one, the CGI was so ugly. It was just so ugly the
mhm.
whole time. And I think it doesn't help that they're in, the quantum realm, so everything's like
Oh yeah.
weird, but I guess the design of it, I didn't maybe it's just the design of it I didn't like or something. It was just too it looked like Shark Boy and Lava Girl to me. If you remember Shark Boy and Lava Girl,
Yeah, I
that's
remember.
what it looked like. And it also just felt like, again, as an actor, like dialogue is so vital to me when I'm watching a movie and seeing like chemistry and humans talking like humans. And that
Hmm.
movie just felt like it was written by AI. And it might have been. Like, I don't know at this point. So I think that's why that one sticks out in my mind because it's the most recent one that I watched that I was like, I hate this. I hate it so much.
uh let me see let's see. Uh the Guardians of the Galaxy. Love all three films.
I love them. I liked a lot of people hated the last one, but I think that going that dark route was kind of refreshing for Guardians of the
Oh
Galaxy
yeah.
since they're just so fun and lighthearted. Like I think it was time for something a little bit deeper to happen with them. And I love that it was Rocket's story. I
Oh
love
yeah.
Rocket. He's my favorite. So, like, yes, Rocket.
Um, the three Spider-Man films I enjoyed.
Hmm. I
Well,
did too.
No Way Home was more for nostalgia than story purpose, which I'm not complaining about. We got to see Andrew and
Yeah,
Toby again.
that one's nostalgia done very well.
Yeah. Um, the two Doctor Strange films. A lot of people didn't like Multiverse of Madness. I liked it. I mean, it was done by Sam Raimi.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. I don't know why people. I think a lot of people were like, it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie, and I'm just like, yeah, because Sam Raimi made the movie. It's not gonna be like everybody else's Marvel movies.
Well, I think the Marvel formula, they have a formula, they have like a beat system, they have a tone in Marvel. And I I like a variation in it. Like I like switching it up a little bit because then it doesn't look like carbon copy of every other
Mm.
movie that's happened in the past like 5 years in Marvel and superhero films in general. I think that Doctor Strange is so different because it's not like, technology versus or it's magic.
Yeah,
And it's the way it was done was really interesting and it was so much more goofy and weird and it fit to me because it's mystical arts like so I was like God, yeah, it makes sense. He's fighting with music notes, that makes sense to me like
and
so
and
yeah, I
so
enjoyed that film.
yeah, and then obviously I think right now Deadpool 3 has gotten delayed, uh,
Yeah.
which obviously we all know we're getting Deadpool in the MCU, but everybody was excited. You got Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine in that classic outfit.
Yeah.
They were bringing back a lot of characters for this movie. So, how do you think Marvel is going to handle like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four?
Hopefully well. I don't know. X-Men is such a big universe by itself. I don't know how they're gonna mesh that together. I'm not as worried about the Fantastic Four. Um, I'm worried about the Fantastic Four in that no one's ever gotten it right.
Oh
But
God.
um, I'm optimistic, especially amid like casting rumors that have been circling around, and that
Mm.
makes me more excited about it. Um, but I think with all the setbacks, it's actually good for Marvel
Oh yeah.
because having a strike, they need time to really think about this. And like people need to take their time with those two franchises because they're like probably the two biggest ones in all of Marvel. So like if they have time to really think about how they're going to make it work and they don't just rush into it and put the Marvel formula on it, the Marvel Cinematic Universe
Mm.
formula on it, I think then it'll be super interesting. I hope they take it in interesting directions. I hope that it's not just like every other Marvel film, you
Well,
know.
because like before the strike, because I'm pretty sure the Fantastic Four was going to come in Phase 6.
Yes.
I I have been I think, and I mean I've mentioned this to several people. I think you probably after like I think Secret Wars, I think you can
Mm-hmm.
probably put a pause on that, and you could probably do an entire saga on the X-Men alone, just because
Yeah.
there's a lot that you can do with the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed. Well, like I said though, it's like I don't know how you can you can't just shove them in, you know?
You're
Like you
right.
can't just find a little segue. There's no little segue to just put them in. Because there's too many of them and it's just its own like universe.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's gonna be either really good or really bad.
So, uh, so so switching to your acting, let's hear a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So funny
Really
story that I
quickly,
had. Oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Before we start talking about acting, my computer just said my battery is low, so I'm gonna plug it in. Give me
No,
one
you're
sec.
fine.
I knew this would happen. I was like, I'll forget something. Okay, I'll be right back.
No, you're fine.
We found it! Yay! Not me having technical difficulties in every way possible. Now we're back in business. Okay, we're good. You were
Um,
saying funny story.
oh yeah. So so it was Valiant Fox when I had her on a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
we were talking because I had to make sure because she I was blown away because I because it's crazy like what one casting call can do for you and things like that. Because so she was telling me that she got a call or she was going to go audition. It wasn't a show that was named yet or anything like that. But they were holding auditions for a new Netflix series, and so she was telling me about it. How she was reading the script and they wanted a character to have like a shaved head. Well, she didn't know if she was supposed to have like a shaved head for the audition or is it just primarily for the show. So she didn't go to it. And then come to find out later, the show that if she had went and auditioned for was Stranger Things. And
Oh
so
no.
I know I was like, wait a second. Are you sitting here telling me that you had an opportunity to potentially play 11 in Stranger Things? And she was just like, yep. I was like, oh, that sucks so bad.
Yeah, that would be pretty heartbreaking to find out, wouldn't it?
So
That
what
that
about your acting? Tell us a little bit about that.
so I graduated with a bachelor's degree in musical theater.
Oh,
That was my focus. So live theater is kind of where my training comes from. But I'm repped by an agent manager who sends me out for both TV and film, and I have another agent for commercials. So I'm honestly any acting, like I'm there. um, right now I'm actually doing a show. It's an immersive, like kind of Halloween show in downtown LA. And uh crazy enough, it's really interesting how many connections you can make and in the most weird and unexpected places because I was doing the show and I'm a cosplayer, so I have to do my own makeup for the show and it's like this like nun white makeup and like black tears coming down and like your mouth is all black and it's super creepy looking. But the lead makeup artist like was always telling me like you're my favorite like makeup in the show, like you do such a good job with your makeup and I love it and blah blah blah. And then come to find out from another cast member, she was like, you know that's Johnny Depp's like personal makeup artist, right?
oh.
And I was like, huh? No, I didn't know that. And so talking to him about like how he became a makeup artist and about Johnny Depp and his career with Johnny Depp and all this stuff. And we're like bros now. And he's like, oh, you should consider being a makeup artist, all this stuff. And he gave me one of Johnny Depp's like kohl eyeliners from Pirates of the Caribbean so I can use it for my cosplay.
Oh.
It was like, yeah. And he was like, what else do you need? Like, I got Johnny's box at home, like from Pirates. What do you mean? It's just crazy. It's so weird. Um, the kind of people you meet. And on this show, I met two people who worked in Star Wars. Yeah, it's such a weird little world at the end of the day. But yeah, mostly since graduation. I graduated right before COVID, so career-wise, not much has taken off yet because of the timing of it all. But yeah, hopefully soon. I go out on a lot of auditions, so hopefully something works out.
Are you at liberty to go into any depth about any of that, or is that something that you can't really speak on
About the show I'm in right now?
just the overall like auditions and
Oh, in
stuff like
general?
that?
Oh, I don't, yeah, no, I don't have any NDAs or anything like
Oh,
that.
okay,
It's
okay.
so I haven't gotten that far in the process. Most of the stuff that I've went up for and gotten really close to is like national tours of like musicals and um a couple like one Broadway opportunity that didn't end up working out and all sorts of stuff like that. But TV film wise, like I don't have any NDAs, so
Oh,
we're
okay.
all good. I can talk about any of that. And
um,
yeah, like I said, I don't have like a bunch of credits at this point because I
oh,
just graduated in like 2019 and then COVID
mm.
and then so
um, is there a show or movie that you wish you had an opportunity to audition for?
oh God,
I know there's
so
a lot,
many.
so
Um, oh, I would love to. Oh my God, I don't even know. Sitcom wise, so TV, I would love to be in Young Sheldon. I think that show is so cute and it's like wholesome and like I don't know, it's such a fun family dynamic and I'd love to be a part of like an episode of that.
okay.
Um, Star Wars, obviously. Like, get me in there. I don't care if I have a helmet on, I don't care. I'll be a gonk droid. Like, I don't care. Um, yeah, yeah, Star Wars would be the big one. If I could be in Star Wars somehow, I would I would die.
Just anything. You'll do anything to be in Star Wars.
Yep. Yes. I will get inside of R2D2 and roll
Oh my
around.
gosh. Um, are there like any other kind of projects that are coming up?
I have like a trip planned for the end of the year, so things are pretty quiet right now, just so
Oh,
nothing interferes with like my vacation I'm taking. After the new year comes is when you're gonna start having like pilot season and a lot of TV film is gonna get really popular looking for like actors and stuff at that time. That's usually like the spring is when a lot of shows and projects are seeking actors.
hmm.
So that's usually when you'll start getting a lot more opportunity to be seen at that time. So
Okay.
hopefully in the new year,
Is there like
things will
usually
happen.
like whenever you go to these auditions, is there is there like a lot of people or how does that
It
process
depends.
work?
It depends. Theater, there's something called an open call. And that's where you basically anyone's invited, and that's where you have like anywhere from like 30 to 100 people all
Oh God.
there, like trying to get the same role as you. Um, or you can have like your agent and manager and they'll get an appointment for you. That's why it's helpful to have them, is like they have an in
Hmm.
basically to get you seen ahead of other people. And in more of a one-on-one scenario. Um, and then yeah, there's and you can submit yourself on a bunch of different casting websites too. So you can self-submit or your agents can submit you. There's a lot of different ways that it's done. And then typically pre-COVID, you'd go in person, but now like how we're talking right now over Zoom is a lot more common to do auditions this way or to put yourself on tape and video an audition. They don't do as much in person anymore unless you're like dancing and they need to see you dance.
Hmm.
You don't really go in a whole lot unless you're really being considered and then they want to meet you. But for the most part, auditions are like this. So it's pretty strange.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
interesting. Hmm. I probably wouldn't. Nah, I wouldn't be an actor. I'm like, eh.
Like after that, I'm done. Like
Yeah,
that
pretty much.
doesn't
It's just
no.
like
I'm
I
good.
can I can I can do like a little jump for you, but that's all the auditioning I'm doing here.
Right. And sometimes they will ask you to do weird shit like that. Like, they're like,
Oh.
how high can you jump? Can you dribble a basketball? Like, stupid shit.
So it's just I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just crazy. No, thank you. You know what? Thank you for wasting my time with this ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I remember listening to an interview with Adam Driver once because I think he's an amazing actor and
Yeah.
I just would love to have his career. Especially right now, he's blowing up. But I was listening to an interview with him and they were talking about how do you handle rejection? Because we get rejected like every day of our lives. People saying, well, no, you're not right for this. No, we don't want you. We want somebody else, blah, blah, blah. He was like, oh, well, basically I just trained myself to think that I hate those people behind the desk or behind the, who I'm auditioning for. I just hate them right off the bat. So then when they tell me that they don't want to work with me, I can just say I didn't want to work with those assholes anyway. So screw them.
Okay.
And I was like, that's
That's
such an
fair.
interesting. I'm like, I'm gonna use that automatically. I just hate them. I didn't want to work with them anyway.
I think another actress that has really blown up is or actress, depending on Jenna Ortega is one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean she not see because like a lot of people didn't know much about her because I saw her and stuff, but I didn't know who she was. I think she was in Iron Man 3 as like the president's daughter or something like that.
Oh damn, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. Yeah, she was like, because I think it was like it was the vice president's daughter because she was like, she was playing like a
Wow, that's
yeah, and then she's in a movie called X.
uh-huh.
Um,
I didn't see that movie.
it's more of like a horror. Well, it's more of a thriller than a horror base, but she's in that movie. And then obviously she's in Wednesday, and that's when obviously it looks like she's really starting to blow up. She hosted Saturday
Yeah.
Night Live. She's in
Yeah. I'm
Beetlejuice
hoping that
too.
she doesn't get typecast based on Wednesday. Like she has the look of that kind of like dark teen brooding thing, but I think she has a lot more to give than that one note. And that's why I'm like, when I saw she was cast in Beetlejuice 2, I was like skeptical. I was like, oh man, I hope she doesn't end up being this for the rest
Yeah.
of her life because I think she's got a lot more to offer than just that.
Oh, and she was in the Scream movies.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm trying to think who's in. Obviously Millie Bobby Brown. She's blown up since Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
I've talked about this with my partner a lot. The industry is so much different towards men than women. Like you can think of like a million different male actors who are like they stand out. Like they're super stand out. It's really hard to come up with like the greatest women actors of our generation though. Like you can name off men actors. You can't name off a ton of women, and that's because of the writing of women. I think like women aren't written to be as stand out as men are, if that makes any sense. Have you ever like I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but it's so hard to
Oh
rattle off a
no, I
bunch of
can. Yeah,
prom-
uh, Keira Knightley.
she's incredible.
Uh,
I think
uh,
she could do more than what she's given to
yeah,
too. I think she could go even further. She's an awesome actress.
Halle Berry, depending on what she's in.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Lee Curtis, depending on what she's in.
And that's another interesting thing too is like as women get older, they're given more profound roles, but they're
Mm,
all that same kind of older badass lady or like like hard
yeah.
ass lady or I mean it's like
What's
so
what's
it's
her
so
name?
interesting to try to think about.
Is it Kate Beckinsale?
Oh, I don't know. I'm
Wait,
not
is
even
that the one
familiar
that
with
play?
her.
Is she in Underworld? That's what I'm thinking. Or is it Kate Blanchett?
I
There's too many Kates.
Kate Blanchett's good too.
Uh, Winona Ryder,
Mm-hmm. Are these just all your
Zendaya's
favorites?
rising. She's a rising person. So
Yeah. Zendaya's good too. I mean, she's got a ton of emotional range
Yeah.
for sure. And she can be funny and she can be serious and yeah.
Who else am I thinking? Because when I'm thinking of actors, I'm thinking of like Kirsten Dunst is fine, but
Hmm.
eh.
Where
Oh,
is she?
ex- ex- I mean, I know she does the voice of Anna in Frozen, but that's
Oh, Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell. Yeah, that's about as much I kept up with her. There were a few films that I noticed her from, but like she's not somebody that like pops off at the top of my head because like who
Right.
is oh, what is her name? What is her name? Oh shoot, what is her? I don't forgot the name. I can't remember. Um
I'm literally so bad with names. Yeah, I probably
yeah,
wouldn't even know if you told
Scarlett
me. I'm like,
Johansson.
I don't know. Yeah.
She's
She was really good
good.
in Marriage Story. I didn't
Yeah.
know she had that kind
Oh, there is another. Uh Emma Stone. She's good. Anna Kendrick. She's pretty good. I feel like an underrated actress that doesn't get a lot of attention that I think should is Kate Mara.
of Kate Mara.
You know, if you watch
I don't look at Kate.
that trashy Fantastic Four movie in 2015 or something like that, he
Oh,
played the Invisible Woman.
yeah. What else has she done? Movies. I'm not me, like I'm just Googling really quickly. Call
um,
Jane. I don't think I've seen anything she's done.
that's what I'm saying. She's like a very underrated uh actress. Let me because trying to think what else she was in. What other movie she had? Oh, there it is. Let's see here. Movies. She was in Call Jane. Mm, Cap. I don't know. Some of these I don't remember. But there's been a few that I've seen her in that I remember.
Yeah.
She was in that terrible Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, she
Uh,
was in Brokeback Mountain. I didn't know that.
oh, she was in Iron Man 2.
Wow, I really don't remember her.
Oh, she was in
I
We Are
feel bad.
Marshall. She was in Zoom. Oh, that's where I probably first noticed her from. But see, I feel like she's a very underrated actress. I don't think she gets a lot of
Yeah.
attention.
I wonder how close she always like I'm sure she consistently gets interest, but then it just never falls. That happens
Yeah.
to most people.
Uh,
So,
let's see, Margot Robbie. I'm fine with. I don't. She's a character. She's a person that could probably play almost any kind of role you give her.
yeah, she can.
Uh,
Have you seen I, Tonya? I think she's really good in that movie.
no, the first time I watched anything with her in it, it was that Legend of Tarzan.
Oh yeah.
I
That's
because
right.
I watched it because like usually I watch movies and then unless it's an actor or actress, I see their face, I know who they are. I don't really pay much of attention to it until they start to get into something I like. So when
Yeah.
Suicide Squad came out, Margot Robbie was in it. I was like, okay, that's interesting because not long after I watched that, The Legend of Tarzan came on TV, and I was like, oh, it's Margot Robbie. I didn't realize she was in this movie. Uh,
Yeah.
I like her.
I
Gal
think
Gadot.
if you want, yeah, she's interesting to me. I think I've only really seen her in Wonder Woman, in the role of Wonder Woman. Um I don't know. I think I need to see more of her because I don't know her well enough, I guess. Um, but if you want to see Margot Robbie act her pants off, then you should watch I, Tonya. She's really
Okay.
good in that movie.
I know, let's see. Florence Pugh, she's a rising star.
She's really good. Mm-hmm. Saoirse
Uh,
Ronan's good.
Who?
Saoirse Ronan.
I don't
She's
think I
in
knew.
Little Women.
I don't think I've seen that.
French movie.
Anne
I think
Hathaway's
it's more
fine.
to watch.
Um, let's see. I'm okay with Anne Hathaway. Uh, what is the woman? What is her name? She was in the Resident Evil movies.
I don't
Like her
know.
last
Google
name's
can tell me.
Yokovich.
Oh, oh, I don't remember. See, like I said, my name
Right. No, you're
recalling
fine.
is Mila Jokovic.
She's fine, but I feel
Yogo.
like she kind of plays almost a similar character in most of her movies to an extent.
Probably it's women get typecast a lot more than men do, so they kind of stick with the same kind of similar thing over and over again.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you can break out of it. That's one thing they
Yeah.
told us in school, like, oh, your type.
Yeah.
I don't want to type.
Which I hate because like lately, not well, not lately. Basically, when She-Hulk came around, there was this terrible narrative of like for guys who didn't like She-Hulk, they didn't like female-led shows or something like that. And I was just
Yeah.
like, I can name you a bunch of movies that either have a female lead or a strong female presence that I absolutely love. And I was just like, I just didn't like She-Hulk because it was just an average show. But
Right. Right.
so
Yeah, that was like a weird, short, little toxic movement that happened for a minute. I think it's died down a bit, or at least they aren't as vocal about it anymore.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
just,
that was tough. I mean, I do agree that I don't think Marvel necessarily, they think they're giving us what we want, but they're not actually.
yeah.
Like, they think they understand what we're asking for, and then they don't know. And that's more of a Disney problem, I think. I think Disney is like assuming what
Yeah.
we're interested in, and then they get it wrong.
Yeah,
So,
because it really showed because when Disney released that 100-year video,
yeah.
a lot of people that I saw, like on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, were all
Mhm.
talking about how that's what they want Disney to go back to. Not the kind of stuff that they're pushing out now, because some of it's not
Mhm.
very good, regardless.
Right.
But I mean, like their 2D animation that they were doing, like it was so wild watching because like towards I don't know if you watched that video or not.
Yeah, I did.
But like towards the end, you have that Photoshop of all these characters. And I was just like, oh man, I grew up with a lot of these characters. They were in some of my favorite movies. And like that's what that's what Disney now is missing. Because a lot of their movies
Mhm.
are primarily geared towards kids. Whereas when I was growing up, those kind of movies that were coming out, like the early 90s, early 2000s, were all geared for the family overall.
Yeah.
And so it was just like really cool to just see like Treasure Planet. A lot of people don't know
Yeah.
much about Treasure Planet. Um, and then there's another one,
Emperor's New
Dinosaurs.
Groove.
It was just wild. My
Yeah,
God.
that video made me cry. But yeah, I agree. I was actually watching a video earlier today because I'm also really interested in like animation and the animation process. Um, and there was I think he was like one of the head of technologies or something at Disney for like 4 years, and he was explaining how, everybody says that they want like 2D animation back, and he said basically that art form is dead, like they don't actually have the means to do it anymore. And that made me so sad. Like I was like, all those generations of artists who spent years creating that as a craft, and then we just kind of let it die. Like that is so depressing that
Yeah.
happened. I'm like, how can I bring it back? Do I have to teach myself how to do this so I can bring it back? Like,
Because like, with the exception of a few movies, some of the recent Disney movies have not been entirely great. Uh,
mid. Yeah.
yeah, what is it? They got a new one coming out called Wish. Uh,
Yeah.
but the trailer to that looks meh.
I
I don't
think
know.
that it's they have a major marketing problem because that movie Elemental, I haven't seen it to this day because it just didn't look good or interesting, and apparently it's like one of the best films that they've made in the past like 10 years according to fans. They're like, it's great. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I think overall in Star Wars, Marvel, and just Disney projects in general, like their marketing team needs to figure it out
yeah,
big time.
yeah. It's definitely like a hot mess because like and listen, their Disney's live action remakes have not been hitting it either. You know,
No,
it's
I
just
haven't liked a single one of those at all. Not
I
at all. Like, just I'm
I
just gonna
think you
the
could get
cartoon.
away with some of them. I think Beauty and the Beast you could get away with. They did a live action
Yeah,
Cinderella.
people
You
love that one.
you can get away with that one.
For me, Beauty and the Beast, I can't handle because they looked for stars instead of having people who could actually sing. And as a musical theater performer, that just irked me so badly. I
That's
was like,
fair.
don't put Emma Watson in auto tune her. Like, just get somebody else. Like,
That's
not
that's
no,
fair.
but if she can't sing, I don't want it.
Um, let's see. I have to this day I have not seen The Little Mermaid.
You don't need to.
Okay, okay, it's
It's
fine.
you really
Uh,
don't need to.
I was already not planning on seeing it because of some of the changes they made to it. I was just like, I don't, because like you got Aquafina as as Scuttle, and
I
like why?
I hated that. Hated it. And honestly, like no judgment to Lin Manuel Miranda, but that song that they sing, I was like in the theater, like, no,
uh,
I'm
what was
good.
another? What was another one? Aladdin. I as a person who grew up with Aladdin, I was I
Mhm.
was I was really irked by that movie because
Yeah,
you did it shouldn't even been called Aladdin. You could have called it Jasmine for all I care because that was what
true.
the center focus of that movie was. Now Genie was Will Smith had a nice little subplot into it, but
Yeah,
I was highly pissed with the way Aladdin just felt like he was in the back of his own movie. I was like, ooh, I
that's
don't
another
like.
one where I think that it suffered from Disney thinking it understands what feminism is,
Right.
but I don't think it is. It puts it in weird
Yeah.
places that don't doesn't really make any sense. And like I understand complaints about some of the original source material, like I get it, but
Yeah.
the, the overcorrection, the course correction that they're trying to take on some of the things, it for not only for feminism, but for like any issues in the
Yeah.
prior films, like that they're like trying to correct. They oversteer. They just miss the exit every time.
Oh, because I remember reading or watching somebody talk about it, but like that Mulan movie, that live action Mulan movie, is hated in
Uh,
China apparently.
really, I
Yeah,
didn't hear that.
I have to try to find it again, but yeah, I think it did not do well in the Chinese market whatsoever, and was fine. I don't think it was. I they based they tried to base the movie off the actual person that was
The real
kind of
events.
yeah, but eh, eh, um Lion King,
That was so unnecessary.
it was, but the most most egregious about it was they tried to go way too realistic with it. Because
It was uncanny valley. Yeah.
if you look at the Lion King and then look at the Jungle Book did it 10 times better with the
Oh,
way
absolutely.
it was just, yes, it was. But that's the problem with Disney. They're doing unnecessary things like that.
Yes.
Because what was it? They're doing a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. Um,
A live action Lilo and Stitch.
I think they
I,
just came out and said they're doing a live action Frozen. It's just like,
why?
what? Why are you
How's
do?
it
Why?
just out?
I
Like
was like, why are you doing
a
this?
live action Moana. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
Moana was like the last one before this new one to come out. What do you mean you're making a remake?
it's just I'm just like,
Why
why
can't
are
you just make
you?
Moana?
Exactly. It's just because everybody's just like nobody asking for this.
At the end of the day, animation is more expensive than live action anymore because it actually requires artistry instead of just like a computer to kind of put in a little thing and then it does it for you. And like it's way more expensive and it takes so
Yep.
much longer to do an animated movie. Now they're just doing this instead because it's cheaper and people are still going to go see it for some reason. And they need something to put on Disney Plus. And
True.
I'm
I
like,
mean,
I'm over.
well, like with Lion King, I thought the cast was great. I thought they did a good job with getting a really solid cast. It's just that
Yeah.
oversaturated realism of the animals that's just kind of
Right.
just
And again, too, like I'm of the opinion like if you don't have something new to bring to the film, there's no reason to do it. And the fact that the lines, like nothing about that movie was different than the animated movie. And
oh
we can't even call it
exactly
live action. No, it's still
that's
animated.
that's the issue. It's just like I think the Little Mermaid did this. They did basically did the same thing, but they maybe deviated here and there. But like
Right. Right.
you're copying and pasting. That's all you're doing. There's nothing new original about this.
They think that, well, if we just take the same story, it'll be just as popular, but it's for a new generation of children who have grown up with CGI and Marvel and that kind of thing. So it'll appeal to them. And it's like, well, can't you just make up a new story that
Yep.
will appeal to them? Like, why do you have to just rewrite the
Yep.
ones that we all remember?
And now and now you have freaking with Rachel Zegler and Snow White. And that's a whole hot mess in and of itself. I was just like,
Her, her,
lady, what is wrong with you right now? So
her PR team is going to like, they're gonna kill her. Like she's done.
yeah,
She's so done.
yeah. I was just like,
It's appalling.
it was, yeah, it was. Because I remember I was just like, because I wasn't going to see this movie regardless, but this just made me make sure I don't want to see it and make sure other people don't see it. Because I remember watching an interview because I didn't even know Gal Gadot was in it because she was playing like the
Yeah.
evil witch or whatever. Uh, and I was listening to an interview because they were talking about how Snow White's outdated. She don't need no man to come and wake her up. And I'm just kind of like, but she she eats an apple, falls asleep, and but she needs a kiss to wake up. How is she gonna wake up? That I was like, and then the whole dwarf issue. I was like, this is
Yeah.
stupid. It's like you people are just a hot mess right now.
Well, the whole idea that they're like villainizing the idea of love and making it like it's a bad thing, like being in love is not doesn't make you weak. So I'm confused why that's the issue. She doesn't need no man. It's like, okay, but so you're basically saying like she doesn't need love and that's not a integral part of her character when in fact that's all her character is she loves everyone. Like that's her thing. So like what
Yeah.
do you she's not even Snow White anymore. If you take that out. What do you mean?
And I'm just like,
Oh,
I was telling somebody about this the other day. I said, I am just waiting for the day Disney one tries to do a remake of Disney's Tarzan, and number two tries to do a remake of Pocahontas.
Yeah.
I was like, those two right there. I would think Marvel, not Marvel. I think Disney would have common sense. Maybe let's not touch those particular movies, because I mean, it's. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Are you gonna get a black man swinging through the jungle of Africa? Is that what you're gonna do?
I, I
It's
I don't I just hope that they just stop in general. Like, can they just stop? Please.
oh my god.
I'm perfectly happy with what we have. Please come
Yep.
up with a new idea. Thank you. Have a good day.
So, because I think like the How to Train Your Dragons, I think they already casted the actress to play Astrid, and she was the daughter to Joel in the Last of Us show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who they did. I don't know if they've done anybody else, but I think that was somebody that they picked to be in the show. Which I mean,
I think they make sense for that role. Like, I haven't seen their work very much. I don't know. Interesting.
so
I haven't heard anything about that at
yeah, man,
all.
it's because I think at first people got upset because with the live action Lilo and Stitch that they're gonna be doing, they got rid of Cobra
Yeah,
Agent
Cobra
Bubbles.
Bubble.
Yeah, they got rid of
Yeah.
him. He wasn't in the movie. Uh,
Oh,
well, then there was fan backlash about it, and then he got it added into the movie. So
so we pulled a Sonic the Hedgehog all over again.
that was the best. That was the best the fandom did for Sonic the Hedgehog was get that
Oh
character,
yeah.
just get that changed because that was.
Fix him. Fix him.
Oh my gosh. It's funny because that character, if you watch that Chip and Dale movie that's on Disney Plus, he's
Oh yeah, and it's scary, like ugly Sonic.
yep. Oh, I love
It
it.
is
I love it. I love that. I a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I loved it because it has the most funny, iconic scene because they go to that Swedish guy and he's selling cheese, and it's just like, hey, do you sell any cheese? He's like, yeah, we got gorgonzola, this cheese, that cheese. He's like, I'm looking for stinky cheese, and his face just like turns, just like, what are you, cops? It's just like, oh my god, that's hilarious. I love that.
I'm pretty
Uh,
sure I watched that movie and was really drunk, so I don't remember it very well, but I do
that's
remember that
okay.
it was very entertaining.
So, you find ways to get through it. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I think I just happened to have been drunk, and that was like my choice of film to watch for some reason. I was like, yep, let's go.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, all right, God. I think that is where we will end this week's episode of Nerd Talk. So much fun.
Yes.
Once again, thank you for coming on. This was such a blast.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Sean.
No problem. So, as per usual, you guys, it should be up on screen now, but these are all the ways you can follow and support. And then for those who are listening on podcast, how can they follow and support you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Bravo Almara. It's all one word, BRAVOALMARA. And then I'm the same thing on TikTok, except add the number 2 because my original account was hijacked and I
Oh,
couldn't get into it. So I had to make a second one. Um, and you can also find me on Tumblr under the same name, Bravo Almara. And you can also find me on actually Archive of Our Own, which is where I write fan fiction. So if you ever want to read any of that, you can.
oh, okay,
And
okay.
that's my username on that is Fandemonium Quinto Batch. It's a super old username.
Okay, yeah, it sounds very, very old indeed. So,
Really nerdy.
so, oh man, but yeah, we would definitely work on trying to have you come back on for sure to talk more nerdy
I'd love
things.
to.
And
Oh,
so,
yes, yes, yes. I have much
uh,
more to say.
So be sure to go give her a follow as well. And be sure while you're at it, check out the channel as well. Because over on my Patreon, that just launched. We are playing the Spider-Man from the 2002 movie game. And then tomorrow, November 4th, we are wait, I got my dates mixed up. I have so much content going around. Wait. Oh my god. Wait. No, this is right. Right. No. We're right. We're good. We're good. So tomorrow, November 4th, we are starting the last season of Telltale's The Walking Dead. And so I'm very excited to finish that series up. But yeah, so plenty of content out there. Go and give her a follow. Enjoy her content. Very entertaining. And other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. See ya.